Hi Andy. Before we get started, I thought I should tell you that you always have to make sure you have the right yarn and enough yarn for each project that you're working on. And you need to know what kind of hook size to use. Your pattern usually tells you the hook size. I just grabbed an I-9 5.50 millimeter, and I wanted to show you that when you read the yarn labels that it tells you if there's a dye lot. And when there's a dye lot, you want to make sure that you get the same dye lot for all of your project. You don't want to have the wrong, like you don't want to have 260 and 261 or 410. You want to make sure that if you're going to be buying yellow for your whole project, that they are all the same dye lot. Some of them say no dye lot. Also, you want to make sure that you have enough of the different yarn. Like if it said you needed 1,000 yards, you'd want to make sure that you got at least 4 skeins or 3 skeins. And if it said that they wanted 4-ply medium worsted, you would look right here, and here's your 4-ply medium. Okay, and if you read about the yarn on here, you'll find out different information that you need for whatever project. Like if you were going to be knitting a project, this is, I guess, the ideal size of a knitting needle. Crocheting would be, the USA is the 9, which is what I just showed you on here. I have an I-9 5.50 millimeter, okay? And that's what it says, use a 5.50 millimeter crochet hook, all right? And I don't like really using like part of one brand and part of another because they'll shrink different ways. And you want to make sure if you're not, if you're making something for, let's say, a brother who's just going to throw it in the wash machine, that the yarn is, that it is washable. You know, this one says don't iron it. I don't know what all the symbols mean, but I think this one, the circle, means that you can wash it and dry it. But just make sure before you spend a whole bunch of money and invest all your time and then it screws up. Okay, now I saw the project that you did, and so I know you know how to do a slip knot, and that's the way crochet projects start, is the slip knot, and you put it on your hook. I'm used to doing double crochet, so if I keep throwing in a double crochet where it's supposed to be a single, I'm sorry. Okay, you were, let's say, going to make, I'll make this up, a scarf. It might tell you to chain X number of stitches. So to do the chain, yarn over and pull it through, and that's 1 chain, 2 chains. So I like working patterns that tell me how many stitches are going to be in each row, so when you get to the end of each row, you can stop and count to make sure you have the right number of stitches. If it tells you you're supposed to have, 4 singles, 2 doubles, and a chain 2 space, make sure that that's what you have at the end of that row. Okay? Let me look at this. So, I'm going to take the hook out a second. So we have 1 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the one that's on the hook, we don't count. If a project says, let's just say single crochet in the 2nd chain from the hook, you don't count this one, you wouldn't count this one, you would count this one as 1 and this one as 2. Sorry, Andy. So, just don't count the one on the hook. So when you do a single crochet row, it's usually you have a chain 1 turning chain, okay? So, now we're going to single crochet across the bottom chain. Each of the stitches is like a V. On the bottom row, a lot of people sort of turn it over and go through this hump on the bottom. I don't. I just go through what I call the back ridge on the first row. So I'm going to single crochet in the 2nd chain from the hook. So there's number 1, number 2. Now this is a single crochet. So that's stitch number 1. You don't go into the one that's got your stitch in it, you go into the next one now. This one would be 2. And what we're doing right now is a single crochet. Insert it, yarn over, pull it through. This is 3. Insert it, yarn over, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry if my little tail keeps getting in the way. 10. This last one's 11. You don't go through that little knot. That's not even considered a stitch. 12. Okay, so if you were to count, you would count these V's up here on the top. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 stitches. Okay. Now when we go to turn, you do a chain 1, and then you turn it. Excuse me. You would not crochet into the turning chain. You would crochet into the stitch right below. So the second chain from the hook. Now what you've been doing is going through the back stitch. This would be considered the front of the stitch. Normally you would go through both. If you wanted to do a rib, each time you turn it, you just continue to go through the back. So if a project does not tell you to go through the back, you need to go through both. Okay? So here's your turning chain. Here's the first stitch that I'm going to go through. I'm going to insert my hook under both of those, under the V. Yarn over, pull it through, and that's number 1. Now we want a total of 11. So we'll do this across. This is 2, 3, 4. Make sure you don't go back through the same stitch. 5. I'm sorry, my hook got away from my hand. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the last one, whoops, sorry, missed it. 11. So now you want to make sure and count. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? We're going to do one more row of the singles. So you chain 1 and turn, and you go into the second chain from the hook, which would be the first single. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to also change yarn colors so that if you wanted to make a stripe or something. And I'm going to show you how to do like a half double and a double. My favorite stitch is the double. Okay. Now I'm going to stop and count. I'm going to pull up a loop. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the only way that you get off is by not counting and not making sure that you did that chain 1. So what you've probably been doing incorrectly is not doing a chain 1 at the beginning. Okay? So I'm going to stop the video just so I have a stopping point, and we'll start a new video right after this. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to do a double crochet. And to do a double crochet, instead of doing the chain 1 for the single, we do 3 chains to make a double. So there's 1, 2, 3, and we turn. Now this chain 3 counts as the first stitch of the row. So you would not be going into this stitch at the bottom that contains the chain 3. You would go into the next one over. So in order to do a double, we yarn over, stick it through both of those loops, that V, yarn over, and pull it through. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2. Now this chain 3 is considered the first double, and this is the second double. To do the next double, you yarn over, insert it under both of the V's, grab the yarn and pull it through. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2. Yarn over, we'll go into the next one. I'm trying to do this slow so that you can watch and get the hang of it. Almost all the projects I do are double crochets. I hate doing single crochets because they take forever to do a project with a single crochet. If you notice, we did 2 rows of singles. We've done 1 row of a double, and the double is twice as high as a single. So I would rather do the work faster by doing the double. So now, when you were going in at either the beginning or the end, when you think you're done, don't automatically go to the next row. While you're brand new, get in the habit of counting your stitches. Okay, so the chain 3 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have our 11 stitches that were single below here and double now. So now let's go ahead and do our chain 3 and turn. Some patterns, when they write them, it will say chain 3 and turn, and then it'll go on to the next row. But you still would have to count this on the next row as a stitch. Okay, so yarn over. Remember, don't go into the one here at the bottom of this. You go into the one next to it. I forgot to show you how I have the yarn wrapped around my hand. I'll do that at the end of this row. I also wanted to show you how this last one is slightly different. Because it was a turning chain, a chain 3, it doesn't look the same at the top. However, if you turn this around and you look at it closely, you'll see there's your little V that you want to go under. You don't want to go in the hole. What I do is I go ahead and yarn over, and then I sort of hook this little nub. I go under the top right here, hook that nub so that I'm under both of the stitches that form that V. Yarn over, pull it through. And so that we don't mess up, let's make sure that we have our 11. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, I don't have anything to cut this color with right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down, turn it off. I'm going to get another color to show you how to add new color. Okay, Andy, I've cut the yarn, but I wanted to show you. Once you decide that you're done with a color, you always have to leave enough of a tail at the end so that you can sew in your yarn tails. So what I do is I always yarn over one more time, pull it through, and that will kind of lock it in place. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to do another color, add another color at the beginning of a row. okay? So since I just ended on this end, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to start on the opposite end now. So I'm going to do my slip stitch. Now some people, I'm going to show you a couple different ways that they do it. Some people go ahead and insert their hook, put the slip stitch on, and that's what I do. Or some people put the slip stitch on their hook and then do the sticking their hook through the first stitch. It's up to you however you want to do it. I just always stick my crochet hook in the first stitch, and then I put my slip stitch on the hook. Alright, so I'm going to draw it through the first stitch, and since the next stitch is going to be a double crochet, I go ahead and do my chain 3. Now we're just ready to do double crochets across. And then when you finish your project, you have to have a yarn needle so that you can weave in all your ends. However, I wanted to show you, I wasn't planning on going back to the blue, but I will, just to show you what I could have done. Now remember, this is that end one that has, since it was a chain 3, you don't, it doesn't look normal. So you have to make sure that you kind of go under that top loop, hook that bottom part, and then if you look, you've got 2 on the hook, if you've done it correctly. Yarn over and go through. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the other side, and I'm going to not go into the one at the base, because this chain 3 is considered the first double. I guess what I should have done is not cut the yarn. I wish I hadn't cut the yarn, because I want to show you how you can just keep going. In fact, you can have skinnier stripes of the color by starting one color at one end and the other color at the other end, and just dropping them off at the end of each row. And I'm at the end again. Okay. Well, let me undo that just so I can show you what I'm going to do. Instead of doing the full double crochet in the last stitch, since I'm going to be switching to another color, I'm going to yarn over and start the transition, you know, where you do the yarn over and pull through, and then the pull through. Once you get to the very last portion of the double, we're going to switch to another color. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this blue again. And now I'm not going to put a slip stitch on my hook. I'm just going to get the yarn ready to start crocheting again. And I'm going to yarn over and pull it through. And then tighten it down a little bit with the purple, just to make sure it doesn't, you know, get loose. So at this point I've got a tail, and then I've got the yarn that we're crocheting with. Okay, we're going to chain 3 with the new color and turn. This first stitch goes with the first one, so we're going to go to the second one. Still doing our double. Okay, well, on our last one, I'm looking for that stitch, and if you do it correctly, after you yarn over, go into that top thing, go into that little portion right there, look, and you have 2. Okay. Now, we still have the purple yarn over here. So I'm going to work across the blue until I get over to where the purple yarn is at. Let's do a chain 3 and turn. Your yarn can get tangled, so you might have to do some untangling. So this first chain 3 goes with this first stitch, so we go into this stitch right here. I think I need to pull out more yarn. I never pull out enough yarn. Okay, we're at that last weird stitch because it's a chain 3. Okay, now, I've completed this stitch, but I'm going to show you what you can do is you can run the yarn up the side like this, and what I would do is I would back out that last stitch to the point where I didn't do the final pull through, okay? You can stop holding on to the blue, and you can pick up holding on to the purple. Okay? Just as long as you're going to go over the side with some single crochets to cover that, okay? If not, you can cut the yarn like we did before and just weave the tail in. Okay, so what I've done is I've yarned over with the old color, the purple, and I'm going to pull it through for the last portion of that last double. Okay, and now I'm going to just continue on by chaining 3. I'm going to turn and I'm going to pull slightly on the old blue so that it tightens that stitch a little bit, okay? And now we're ready to continue on. Here's your chain 3, that goes with your first stitch. We're going to go into the next stitch. I know that I have my 11 stitches across, but make sure you, at the end of each row, do what I told you, count your stitches. It's the only way you're going to make it accurate. Okay, so I'm at the last one right now. Okay, so basically, that's all you're learning how to do right now is your double crochets up here and your single crochets that were down here. And you can make yourself a stripe project. You can make, you know, a scarf if you like. So I'll continue by showing you more videos when you're interested and more fancier stitches. Okay? Hope you're enjoying it, Andy.